Sisters are supposed to be your closest confidantis, the ones who know you better than anyone. But what happens when the one person you thought you could trust is hiding a secret so massive it threatens to tear your family apart? I'm about to share with you the story of how I accidentally uncovered my sister's secret marriage, and the shattering truth that changed everything. Growing up with a tight-knit family was like living in a fairy tale. Our home was filled with laughter, warmth, and unconditional love. My sister Emma and I were inseparable. We shared every secret, dreamt of having sleepovers, and explored the world around us together. Our parents, Mark and Sarah, were our rock, providing a safe haven where we could be ourselves without judgment. We'd have family game nights, camping trips, and holidays that felt like magical getaways. As we grew older, my sister seemed to be living a charmed life. She had a successful career, a beautiful home, and a loving partner who showered her with attention. But what I didn't realize was that there were subtle hints of something off, like the way she'd excuse herself from family gatherings without explanation, or the occasional late-night phone calls that would cut our conversations short. But I remember one particular Thanksgiving dinner when my sister seemed different. She was laughing and smiling, but her eyes kept darting towards the door as if waiting for someone to arrive. I brushed it off as mere paranoia, thinking maybe she was just anxious about something unrelated. But in hindsight, those moments were like breadcrumbs leading me down a path of discovery. It wasn't until months later that I stumbled upon a revelation that would shatter my perception of her perfect life forever. A simple Facebook post, innocently scrolling through her profile, exposed the truth that I'd never suspected. My sister was married, and it wasn't to the man she'd been dating all along. As time went on, our family started to notice a change in my sister's behavior. She'd always been the life of the party, attending family gatherings and events with ease. But suddenly, she was Mia. Her phone would go straight to voicemail, her social media profiles were inactive, and even her favorite online shopping account seemed abandoned. I'll never forget the day I started to suspect something was off with my sister's marriage. It started with small, seemingly insignificant things, like when she would suddenly cancel plans at the last minute, citing family emergencies or work commitments. At first I thought nothing of it. After all, we're both busy adults trying to balance careers and relationships. But then there were the phone calls. I'd catch her on the phone, whispering quietly as if she didn't want me to hear her end of the conversation. She'd quickly hang up when I walked into the room, but not before I caught a glimpse of someone's name flashing on the screen. Someone whose surname was unfamiliar. One day, while helping my mom with some household chores, we stumbled upon an old credit card statement in my sister's drawer. The address listed as payee was one that neither of us recognized. It sparked a nagging feeling in me that something wasn't quite right. As I scrolled through her phone, my mind racing with questions, I tried to convince myself that I was just being paranoid. Maybe she's been using a new app for something else, I thought. But the more I looked, the more I felt a knot in my stomach. It all seemed too real, too convincing. At first, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A marriage certificate with our sister's name on it. I rubbed my eyes, wondering if the exhaustion of the past few days had finally caught up to me. No, this can't be right, I muttered to myself. I started to rationalize. Maybe she'd been going through some kind of therapy or counseling, and this was just a hypothetical exercise. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. The more I looked at the certificate, the more my heart sank. Our sister, who had always been so open with us about her life, had kept this huge secret from us, and I couldn't help but wonder. What else didn't she tell us? I'll never forget the day I confronted my sister about her secret marriage. I had been replaying our family gatherings in my head, wondering how she could keep this from us for so long. So, I took a deep breath and sat down with her, trying to choose my words carefully. As we sat on the couch, surrounded by the familiar walls of our childhood home, I said, "Sis, can I ask you something?" My voice trembled slightly as I continued. "I know about you and him." She looked up at me, a mix of shock and guilt written across her face. Her eyes darted around the room, like she was searching for an escape route. And in that moment, I felt a rush of emotions: anger, hurt, confusion. How could my sister keep this from us? The more I pressed for answers, the more defensiveness crept into her tone. She started to make excuses, downplaying the situation. But I knew what I had found out, and I wasn't buying it. The silence between us grew thicker, like a layer of fog that refused to lift. And as we sat there, locked in this moment of tension, I realized that our entire family dynamic was about to change forever. As I stood there, frozen in this moment of tension, I realized that our entire family dynamic was about to change forever. The first signs had been subtle: a faint scent of perfume on her jacket, a hastily deleted text message on her phone. But as more secrets came to light, the web of lies unraveled at an alarming rate. As I stood there, phone in hand, my heart sank. My sister's entire facade began to crumble before my eyes. The betrayal cut deep, not just because she'd kept this secret for so long, but also because it made me question everything we thought we knew about our family. The late-night conversations, the crazy excuses, the constant evasions, they all started to make sense now. We were left reeling, unsure of what was real and what wasn't. My sister's husband became a stranger in our home, his presence suffocating under the weight of guilt and shame. The tension between them grew thicker than the air, making it almost unbearable to be around. Our family dynamics shifted like sand dunes in a hurricane, leaving everyone feeling displaced and lost. Even I couldn't shake off the feeling that I'd been complicit in her deceit, somehow enabling this charade by staying silent. It was as if our entire world had turned upside down, and we were all scrambling to find solid ground. As I scrolled through my sister's phone, the screen seemed to glow with an eerie intensity, like a warning sign flashing in slow motion. The messages were cryptic at first, but as I dug deeper, the truth began to unravel. It wasn't just her husband she had been hiding from us. It was their entire life together. The photos of their lavish vacations, the children they had with him, even the mortgage on a beautiful home in another state. Everything pointed to one stark reality: my sister had been living a lie for years. As the truth came out, my sister became increasingly isolated from our family and friends. She'd always been the life of the party, but now she'd barely answer her phone or engage in conversations. Her eyes would light up for a second when I'd ask about her husband, only to quickly fade into sadness. We all felt a deep sense of responsibility for what had happened. I remember my mom's face would contort in pain every time we talked about Sarah's marriage. She'd say she wished she'd pushed harder to meet him, that she was sorry she didn't see the signs. My dad would just shake his head, muttering something about how he should have been more observant. Meanwhile, my younger brother would guiltily glance at me, as if I was somehow responsible for Sarah's decision. As the days turned into weeks, we realized that rebuilding trust wouldn't be easy. We had to start with small steps: simple conversations over dinner, shared activities as a family, and even group outings to see a movie or play. It was a long, difficult process, but eventually, we began to heal. We started attending therapy sessions together, where we worked through our emotions and learned how to communicate effectively. As I look back on that fateful day, I'm reminded of the importance of loyalty and honesty within families. In hindsight, I realize how crucial it is to maintain open communication and trust. If only we had been more open with each other about our struggles, maybe things wouldn't have escalated so quickly. I remember feeling lost and betrayed when I discovered my sister's secret marriage. The anger and hurt were overwhelming, but as time passed, I began to understand that her decision wasn't a personal attack on me. I think back to all the times we had family gatherings, laughing and joking together, without any hint of what was really going on behind closed doors. It makes me wonder how often we've been pretending to be something we're not, hiding our true struggles from one another. I wish we could go back in time and have those difficult conversations sooner, instead of waiting for the truth to come crashing down on us. In reflection, I see that family loyalty isn't just about being there for each other during happy times. It's also about facing the hard truths together, even when they're painful. As time passed, my sister began to make amends in small ways. She'd surprise Mom with her favorite meal or help out with chores without being asked. It was a subtle shift, but it gave us hope that she was committed to change. I remember one particularly tough conversation we had around the dinner table. She apologized for putting our family through hell and promised to do better. Her words felt raw and genuine, like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Revisiting the past, regrets and what-ifs, I remember thinking that exposing my sister's secret marriage would be a weight lifted off her shoulders. But what I didn't expect was the tidal wave of emotions that followed. The guilt, the shame, the feeling of being trapped in a lie. It was overwhelming. While we've made progress, I still wonder what could have been done differently. What if I had pushed harder for answers before marrying him? Would she have come clean sooner? Or would I have just continued living in blissful ignorance? I often think about the countless times my sister and her husband would visit us, laughing and smiling like a perfect family. But behind closed doors, he was living a separate life with another woman. The what-ifs haunt me. What if I had sensed something was off? What if I had spoken up sooner? It's not just about regrets. It's also about the missed opportunities to connect on a deeper level. We were so caught up in our own lives, and my sister's secret marriage became a chasm between us. Today, we're working towards healing, but revisiting those memories still brings up questions and uncertainties. I'll never forget the day I stumbled upon a secret that shook our entire family to its core. My sister had been married for 3 years, living with her husband in a beautiful suburban home. But what we didn't know was that she was leading a double life. As I rummaged through our basement, searching for old photo albums, I accidentally came across a wedding invitation addressed to the happy couple. It wasn't just any couple, it was my sister and her husband's new last name. At first I brushed it off as a silly mistake, but the more I dug, the more I uncovered a tangled web of deceit. Their secret marriage had been hidden from our family for years, and I couldn't help but wonder why. Looking back, there were red flags all along. The sudden change in their lifestyle, the constant excuses to visit family in another state. If you suspect your loved one may be keeping secrets, pay attention to these warning signs. Changes in behavior or patterns, evasive answers, and a general sense of unease when questioned about their personal life. As I reflected on our family's situation, I realized that my sister's secret marriage was just the tip of the iceberg. The more I dug, the more I uncovered a web of lies and deception that had been woven into our family dynamics for years. As I looked back on the events that had unfolded, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. The more I uncovered my sister's secret marriage, the more I realized that our family had been enabling her behavior for years. We'd ignored the red flags, excused her absence from family gatherings, and even lied to our parents about her whereabouts. It was as if we were all in on a collective charade, each one of us playing a role to keep up the illusion. As I stood there, frozen in shock, I realized that my entire family had been living a lie. My sister's secret marriage, hidden from everyone, including me, had been a masterfully constructed deception. It was as if we were all trapped in a web of enabling patterns, each one of us contributing to the charade without even realizing it. As I reflect on that moment, I realized we were all so focused on keeping the illusion alive that we neglected our own boundaries. My sister's marriage was a well-kept secret, hidden from us for years. It wasn't until I stumbled upon a small family photo at her house that everything changed. The image of my sister with 2 children, smiling and carefree, shattered the facade we'd built around her. We all felt guilty, caught in our own roles as enablers. We were so desperate to protect her from judgment that we inadvertently shielded her from support. Looking back, it's clear we prioritized the family image over our sister's well-being. Setting boundaries wasn't about being cruel or distant. It was about acknowledging and respecting individual relationships within our family. In our case, maintaining healthy boundaries would have prevented us from getting caught in that web of enabling patterns. But it's a lesson learned too late. Our family dynamics were forever changed, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, love means accepting the difficult reality and giving each other space. As I reflect on that fateful day when I stumbled upon my sister's secret marriage, I'm reminded of the overwhelming sense of shame and guilt that washed over me. It was like a tidal wave crashing against the shore of my heart. For days, weeks even, I felt consumed by these emotions, struggling to reconcile what I had discovered with the image of my sister in my mind. As I sat there, trying to wrap my head around the revelation that my sister had been living a secret life for months, something shifted inside me. The initial shock gave way to a sense of understanding, not of what she'd done, but of how far-reaching this deception was. It wasn't just about her husband. It was about our entire family's dynamics. Our mom's constant worrying, my parents' strained relationship. It all made sense now. I remember the countless times I'd defended my sister to our parents, insisting that they were being unfair and judgmental. But as I reflected on those moments, I realized how often we'd been blind to our own flaws. We'd nitpick each other's choices, but never stopped to consider the imperfections that made us human. These emotions, struggling to reconcile what I had discovered with the image of my sister in my mind, taught me a valuable lesson about family relationships. They're complex, messy, and far from perfect. But it's precisely this imperfection that makes them beautiful. As I reflect on the journey we've been through, I'm reminded that family is more than just a name or a title. It's about the love, trust, and loyalty that binds us together. My sister's secret marriage was a harsh reminder of how easily those bonds can be broken. But in the aftermath, I realized that our family's imperfections are what make us strong. We may have stumbled, but we didn't fall apart. Instead, we chose to face the truth head-on and work towards healing. As I look back, I see that the greatest lesson I learned from this experience was the importance of being there for each other. No matter what. Whether it's a sister, a friend, or a partner, loyalty is about showing up when the going gets tough, not just when things are easy. It's about holding on to love and trust even when they're tested to their limits. I wish I had confronted my sister earlier, but in doing so, I forced her to confront herself. And that's where the real growth happened. Not for me, but for our entire family. As we emerge from this darkness, I know that we'll come out stronger, wiser, and more compassionate towards each other. As I reflect on my sister's secret marriage, I'm reminded of the importance of loyalty and trust within our relationships. We've learned that even the smallest cracks can lead to devastating consequences if left unaddressed. But in the midst of this darkness, we've discovered a resilience that only comes from facing the truth together. Our story is a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and redemption. I hope that by sharing our experience with you, we've inspired you to cherish and nurture the relationships within your own family. Thank you for watching.